Hey, how's it going, YouTube? This is Falcon2081, and it's been a while since I've actually uploaded anything for you guys. I think my last video was in November of 2014. But don't worry, I got some, once the new games start rolling out, like Battlefield Hardline, Grand Theft Auto 5, and Project Cars, you're going to see me more making videos and updating the channel more regularly. But today's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be talking about the Magewell 4K capture card. And you guys are probably wondering, what the heck is a Magewell 4K capture card? Well, as the name infers, it's a capture card that can take up to a 4K input at about 30 frames per second. If you're like me, I've been gaming at 1440p, which is 2160 by 1440, since 2012. And since 2012 until now, there have not been any cards that can take an input higher than 1080p 60 except for one, and that is the DataPath DVI dual link card, which costs $1,600. This card is about half that, and it'll let you be able to play in 1440p while you can stream or record in 1080p or 720p if you want to. So basically this video is going to be talking about the card itself, a review, as well as a step-by-step instruction, because there just really isn't any info out there on any of these cards, period. I searched around for a couple of days before I took the plunge and bought the card, and there just wasn't enough info. So I figured a video like this would help out people that might come in through research or anything like that on the internet about the card and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and just talk about the card. It's Magewell is basically a Chinese company. They have different products. They do, one of their most popular ones is their USB capture card, which takes a USB 3.0 input. You can hook up the HDMI in, so sort of like the AverMedia U3 capture card, or the Mincosoft, which is another very popular USB 3.0 card that people tend to use. So then we get into their HDMI cards. They have all these different ones, and then we get to the bad boys, which is the Ultra HD cards. They have basically a 4K DVI version or the 4K HDMI version. It's based off, it can take a 4K input, 3D HDMI. The card has a 2 HDMI input, and I think there's another version where it comes, you can attach another 2 inputs HDMI. The only thing is, when my card on the board, there's no basically piece to be able to do another two extra more inputs. The cool thing about this card is the drivers are based off the direct show interface and audio, and then the direct sound interface, which basically means it's XSplit and OBS compatible. None of this stupid driver crap like the Blackmagic Intensity card that sometimes has driver issues. Anything like it's basically plug and play and you're good to go. And it's basically has all this stuff. So now switching to the Mobile Video Devices website. These guys are their US distributor, and that way we can talk about the specifications of the card. The card is very tiny. This picture really doesn't, it's magnified in pretty good, but I've had the card for about 2 weeks now, just testing it, doing all these different tests before I made my review and all that stuff. So just getting into the specs here real quick. PCI Express times 4. I think it can go into a times 1 slot PCI Express as well. 700 megabytes per second throughput. Just to compare, the DataPath DVI dual link card does 650 megabytes throughput. So 2 on board, 2 inputs. You can do up to, let's see, it's somewhere. Here it is. So you can do one input, one HDMI input of 4096 by 2160 at 30 frames per second, which is 4K, or you could do two inputs of 1920 by 1080, otherwise 1080p, at 3840 by 2160 at 30 frames per second, which is actually pretty neat. So if you want to get crazy when you do your streams or anything like that, you could do maybe like hook up the Xbox console and the PS4 console and all that stuff. It supports HDMI version 1.3. That's the minimum, but it goes up all the way up to HDMI 1.4 alpha, which is the latest one so far, even though HDMI 2.0 is probably released already. I'm not sure, but supports 36 bits deep color, as well as all the other color space like YU, YV, etc. Mainly when I stream and stuff like that, I do RGB 32 bits. It's got deinterlacing color adjustments and all that stuff, and it supports all the Windows all the way down to Windows XP Professional. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to be on Windows XP Professional, but that's kind of nice. And it also supports Windows Media Encoder, Adobe Flash Media Live Encoder, which probably nobody really uses anymore. And onboard memory is 256 megs of DDR2. And the cool thing about this card is that the firmware can be updated, and it seems to be updated not regularly, but every couple of months. I think the last one was in February of last year, I believe, or December, sorry, of 2014. And then the last drivers were in February of this year, I believe. So, aside from that, the card is very, very good. It works right out of the box. The only thing that will stop a couple of people from getting this card is that it's a little bit on the expensive side. I'm talking $700. That's the only thing that sucks. But when you think about it, it's half the price of the DataPath, which is about $1,600, and DataPath is actually going to come out with their DisplayPort version of that card, and that's going to cost about $1,800. And even if you did get the DataPath, for example, that's $1,600 plus. You would actually need an active DVI dual link splitter, which is another about $200. So the price goes up exponentially, and that's one of the things that stopped me from getting the DataPath. I really did not like having to stream in 1080p with my 1440p monitor. I have one of those Korean monitors, and one of the things that sucks is it does not scale very well when you go down further than 1440p. So the text didn't look all that well, the colors didn't look all that well. That's the only thing that sucks about these Korean monitors, is that you're only supposed to really use them for 1440p. Now the cool thing about this card is that it can take if you're gaming at 1440p and you're passing the signal to the card in 1440p, and then you downscale it in Xsplit, which is what I'm gonna talk about step by step today. But the same thing applies to OBS. But basically, my monitor is overclocked to 96 hertz, and this card can definitely take a higher refresh rate than 60 hertz, unlike, for example, the AverMedia Live Gamer. But don't quote me on that, because even though I have the AverMedia Live Gamer, I've never really had it higher than 60 hertz. But I've heard maybe on the forums that may be possible, but who knows? So I'll just leave that as unsure. But the only thing you get on the box is basically the capture card. You download the drivers from here. So if you have a 2 PC stream setup, this will work perfectly for you. While I'd say if you have a pretty beastly 1 PC setup, this could work as well for you. But most people probably would not want to do something like that. Now, There is a DVI version of this card, as we can check here, as you see it here, but I ended up going with the HDMI version just because it gives you a little more option of when it comes to audio. You can either pass through the audio, through the HDMI, or you could separate the audio and, put it through a mixer or, directly to the second computer. Now with, the DVI obviously doesn't have that, even though technically you could probably use a converter DVI to HDMI, but even then it probably wouldn't even work. But you would have to use a splitter for this as well, for your monitor, going from your GPU splitter, and then you would have to go to this card, cable for that card, and then the cable for your monitor. So that's why I ended up getting the HDMI version. And Monoprice has a good price on HDMI 1.4 alpha cables, high speed. They're about $3 for 6 foot, so it's not that bad at all. I ended up ordering the card overnight, which added another about $50 to the shipping. But I got the card very quickly, and I was able to install it on my streaming PC. So let's go over to that now. And so now I'm on my streaming PC. After you install the drivers, you just want to make sure that everything installed correctly. So you just want to go to Device Manager and make sure you don't get like any yellow caution marks or anything like that. And you just go here to the Sound, Video, and Game Controllers tab, and there it is, the XI100DE HDMI 4K capture card, and it seems like it's working. So, I have my Xsplit up, and basically what you're going to be doing is very simple. All you do is just go to Add Source. Oh, messed that up. Add Source. And it's right there, webcam, capture card, video devices, HD video, 4K capture card. I already had it added, and I just want to show you guys the options. So we'll go here. Basically, you get your video delay, milliseconds, HDMI audio input, audio output to the system sound, and then the offset, which I'll talk here in a second. But the audio input, you can actually do. You have different options. Front mic, obviously that's not gonna be it. You can do line in, which what I did with my setup is I could actually go through the HDMI out from my gaming PC, and I also have a line out going from my headphone / desktop audio output into the line in on this streaming PC. And audio quality is a bit better, and there is no audio delay, especially when you get HDMI. But your options are limited when you use voice meter banana, which I'll explain on that as well. And of course, my webcam. But we'll just leave it in HDMI in, system sound or stream sound only. When you're streaming, and the offset in milliseconds. Now, when you're gaming on your gaming PC and you're outputting through the HDMI, and you do video and audio, the audio is going to have a little lag. I'm talking about less than 10 milliseconds around there. For some reason, the way to find that out is basically to locally record a video, either with you playing or something like that. What I did was I just went into Battlefield 4, shot a couple weapons, and then I matched the sound of when the gun is supposed to fire. And then I found out the difference of how far off the offset, and that's where I put it here. So in Sony Vegas, whatever video editing software you use, mine came out to about 9.5 milliseconds, which is about 100 milliseconds in Xsplit, which I don't know, or 95 milliseconds in Xsplit. I don't know why you have to add the 0. But basically, so I had to use -100 because my audio was lagging behind the video, so I have to move the audio forward in sync, and that takes a negative offset. If, for example, your audio is ahead of the video, then you would have to use a positive offset on the audio to delay it so you can bring the video and audio in sync. So let's go to the configuration options for the 4K capture card, and we got the video input. Tells you your device number, the version, firmware version. Here you can upgrade the firmware version. It's always recommended to back it up, and you'll always run that possibility of breaking your card. I know some people had a couple of breaking issues with the AverMedia Live Gamer. Hopefully that's not the case when it comes to firmware updates for this card. And then of course HDMI, really nothing there. And then here's the advanced settings of the card. So as you can see, it is detecting that there's a signal in HDMI input 1. The card will automatically pick 20 if you're gaming in 1440p, it will automatically pick 2560 by 1600. That's just one of the preferred modes. You can manually adjust that down here. You can make it to 1440p, or what you can do, something very easier, is to just crop the border that it automatically puts in for it to make it 1600. And then you have the interlace here. You could do a vertical blend, motion adaptive. I have not used that. I just keep it disabled. And you could also vertical flip the image and horizontal and all that good stuff. So another thing is that oh no, never mind. So as you can see, the output, which is what's going to scale it down to, is going to be 1280 by 720. FPS is going to be 60 frames per second, and the RGB color space is going to be 32 bits. And then obviously you can change here color adjustments, red, green, blue. This is really, you don't have to worry about that. And the color settings, if you want to change to the colors, I found that the colors seem to be pretty good. No issues there. And you can change brightness, contrast. One thing that kind of sucks is there is no sharpness, which would have been a little bit perfect, because since my desktop resolution is in 1440p, the text is kind of tiny, so it doesn't show up very well in the video. And then you can just change gamma. So that's pretty much it for the video inputs. Same thing here. You can change the video output. You can change all the color space here. And it's got some presets already that you can change. And if I really wanted to, I could do 95 frames per second, but obviously that's not very conducive. And then you got your audio input. You can't really change anything here, and that's pretty much it when it comes to the card. The card just works. There's no issues. Obviously I'm recording with it right now. And another thing that I forgot to talk about was when you're setting up the card. Let's switch over back to my gaming PC real quick. Is that basically you're going to be cloning your desktop monitor. So you're clone them together, and you'll be able to accept. It'll go automatically to whatever the highest resolution your monitor supports. And as you can see here, my screen refresh rate is 96 Hertz for both monitors. So, and that's pretty much how you output to the capture card. And so let's go ahead and talk real quick about Voicemeeter Banana. This is basically a very nifty little software. It's what I use that I've been streaming. It gives you a lot of options. It's like a virtual mixer. So instead of spending some extra money on a hardware mixer where you take all the audios into the mixer and then output them to the stream PC, anything like that, you can do all this through here. And this is where the HDMI audio out is going to come into play. So basically these are all hardware inputs. I have my microphone here, so I pick it. WDM basically means Windows driver, something like that. And these other ones will you'll have a little bit of input lag on these other options. This is your best choice when it comes to setting up the microphone and all that stuff. So you can add your noise gate and all that stuff, and then I have it outputting to a virtual input. Next thing is you get a VB audio cable A, so you get like VB audio cable B, and they're basically virtual inputs. So what I did was my voice IP, which is basically my TeamSpeak, I had to basically go into my my cable A, my virtual audio cable A. So under TeamSpeak, under settings, you want that to be your input, your playback device. That's going to come into here. And now you have your option of, let's say you don't want your stream to not hear your, your TeamSpeak or anything like that, then you can have it so that it doesn't output out to the HDMI, which is really nice. And then hardware input 3 I don't use. Your desktop, this is going to be your regular playback device basically. So down here, as you can see, virtual inputs A and B, and you also get a auxiliary input as well. So your voice meter input is basically going to be your desktop sound and all that stuff, and that's what's going to play here. You can change this, all this stuff you can change. Not really going to go in detail of it, but just a quick rundown. And then BGM is my background music. So if I'm listening to Windows Media Player, you can actually under Windows Media Player choose what speakers to output to. So I had Windows Media Player choose to output into my voice meter auxiliary. So if I don't want my stream to listen to my music, but I want to listen to music, I can do that as well. And then this is basically your master selection. You can also record, like an MP3 or anything like that. It's not like the Story or anything like that, but it's actually a little bit useful. And then finally, you have your hardware out. So you have to pick Windows Device Manager. I think that's what it is. I'm not sure, or Windows Driver or something. But I have it. My A1, I have it to my speakers, and my A2, I have it to my capture card. So for example, let's say that obviously I want my stream to hear me talk. So I'm going to go ahead and output to A2, which is basically the HDMI out. And I also want them to, under my TeamSpeak, I want to be able to hear my teammates talk to me over my headphones. So I'm going to output to my desktop, which is A1. And I also want my if for some reason I want my stream to hear my friends, then I'll put this to the HDMI as well. And same thing goes for background music. And then here, this is all just advanced stuff that I haven't really played with, but that's pretty much the gist of it. That this is a very good program. It's donationware. I basically donated about $15, which is what they ask for. It's not a lot. It does a lot of stuff. I mean, it works beautifully. I haven't had any issues except just a couple things that I'm still trying to figure out with the audio. But it's a great way of not having to be able to spend any more extra money than you already have. If you have an AverMedia Live gamer, this could also work for you as well. So it has a lot of options that you can play with, and it just works. And then system settings, you can change all the buffering, all this stuff, and that's just a little bit under my league. And I would highly recommend you check out some videos on YouTube, just talking about it, how to get this thing up and running and all that stuff. So And I would also read the manual because the manual is like 42 pages long, and it just works. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'll try and show you guys some gameplay of me playing, just a very quick of how the capture card does when it's recording. It'll probably be like a little BF4 clip of me playing in the test range or something like that. So, but aside from that, this card just works. There's no issues with it. I haven't had any issues with it personally. Yes, it is on a little bit expensive. This is also one of their. What I'm showing you guys here is the XI100D. It's a 1080p, 60 hertz capture card. But the cool thing about it is that it has an option to be able to do S-video, component signal, and all that stuff. So if you stream older consoles, like the Super Nintendo or anything like that, this could be a great way to to use this card. And I think it's very cheap too. It's like $200, so it basically it's competing with the very popular other popular video capture cards. But that's gonna be it, guys. If you guys have any questions about this card or anything like that, don't hesitate to put them down in the comments. I usually do read all my comments and all that stuff. So just let me know, and I will try and answer it if you have any issues with XSplit or OBS. If you do end up getting this card, the only thing that sucks about it is that there just really isn't that much information either on YouTube or on the internet about these Magewell capture cards. But that's going to be it, guys. The next thing here now that's going to show is going to be just a quick clip, probably 30 seconds or something like that, of me playing Battlefield 4 on the test range, just to show you how the capture card records in a game. But other than that, guys, take care, and if you guys remember to subscribe, leave me comments, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.